Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being patient as we worked through our little bit of technical difficulties. I think we're all good to go now. So welcome to our Caring for the Caregiver series presented by our friends at Sutter Health and Community Hospice. Today's topic is going to be on loneliness, and we have Erica White presenting some great information today. Just so that you know, this meeting is being recorded and will be available on YouTube, Community Hospice YouTube channel, probably later today or by tomorrow. And then of course, it is being recorded. So if you don't want your photo shown or you don't want your voice to be heard, just make sure that your mic stays off and your camera stays off as well. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, please feel free to enter them into the chat box. We'll be monitoring it. Or you can also feel free to just unmute yourself and ask your question. And without further ado, I will turn it over to Erica, who will introduce herself, tell you guys a little bit about herself, and then she'll get into her topic of loneliness. Thanks again for being here.
Hi, everybody. Okay, so Caring for the Caregiver virtual support group. We're going to talk about loneliness today. You know, COVID continues to exacerbate social isolation, loneliness among our older adults. So we're going to provide a little bit of education on that, what to look for, what to be mindful of for yourself, and then hopefully get into some really fun resources that you guys can access. So loneliness is defined by researchers as feeling lonely more than once a week, kind of more of an ongoing issue is what we would be concerned about. Causing people to feel empty, alone, unwanted, kind of is hard on the self-esteem and confidence to get out there and pursue engaging and connecting with others when you're at a low point in life. People who are lonely often crave human contact, but their state of mind makes it difficult to make those connections with other people. Loneliness can affect all types of people from every socioeconomic background, whether we're married, single, live in a household full of people. We just want to make those more authentic connections with people. So types of loneliness that we've observed is transient loneliness, temporary in nature, maybe after a loss for a period of time, occasional feelings of loneliness, you know, obviously when they're genuine and we are alone, but knowing that tomorrow might bring a new feeling. Situational loneliness following that major life event, that would be that one, maybe that good first year or two after losing someone in our life. Chronic loneliness is that ongoing, enduring experience. And that one, you know, can bring some physical, you know, health concerns, medical conditions, if neglected for long periods of time. So what is chronic loneliness? That occurs when our feelings of loneliness don't really go away. It's enduring, and it can be morning, noon, evening, sometimes even when we're with other people. It can be characterized by constant feelings of feeling alone, separated from others, and inability to connect on a deeper level. Also be accompanied by deeply rooted feelings of inadequacy, poor self-esteem, and self-loathing. So
8 hours, right?
Yeah. It can become more of a state of mind.
There's 20 hours left on our little thing.
Yep.
Good to know. Thank you. All right. Main signs and symptoms of chronic loneliness. I hear that I'm muted, and I don't know if that's something that I can control. I will try to speak louder. So main signs and symptoms of chronic loneliness, that can differ depending on your situation. If you constantly feel some of the following, you may be dealing with this chronic loneliness that we're speaking of. So not being able to connect with others on a deeper, more intimate level, surface level, you know, very superficial engagement, no close or best friends. And this might be a confidence or a self-esteem, or not feeling like you have something to share, not feeling that you have something to offer conversations when they're happening around you. And we're going to touch a little bit on that later. Feeling of isolation regardless of where you are and who's around. feelings of being alienated and alone, and then negative feelings of self-doubt, self-worth. So that's that state of mind. And hopefully I can provide some resources on that. So like I discussed earlier, loneliness can contribute to the following. It increases our anxiety, and it becomes very cyclical about how we feel and then how we present ourselves to other people. Inflammation, weight gain, depression, some medical issues when we become sedentary and have kind of a pessimistic view of life. There can be like a self-fulfilling prophecy of just really isolating because you don't feel like you have something to offer the world around you. Lack of exercise because we're not participating in activities. Mental health issues, emotional problems, and sometimes in complete avoidance. This is where people tend to use drugs or alcohol. So we suggest that you stay connected, and this is for your own health benefits and to kind of enrich yourself, so you do feel like you have something to, offer conversations around you, a reason to pick up the phone because you have something new and exciting to share. And then a lot of these offer some health benefits as well. So even though it may be difficult, try making that first effort to connect, pick up the phone. That can have that initial boost of self-esteem and confidence to have you keep going in these efforts. So hopefully I have some suggestions to provide safe and satisfying way to keep focused on the good things in life. So there are various support groups in Stanislaus County. If you are struggling with your own personal issues, sometimes it can be whether you have a medical condition. There are a lot of support groups. If you go into Friends or Good Medicine, that's Stanislaus County's database for support groups. If you are feeling like your gender orientation or your sexual identity makes you feel kind of isolated, or like you don't have your niche to connect with, the LGBTQ Advocacy Center, they provide support groups for those specifically either older adults, or they have those identifying as a woman support group. Our Stanislaus County Wellness Center are still offering support groups. NAMI for those that have some mental health issues that they struggle with, or they have a family member that has some mental health issues. You can find your family of choice in those rooms. We also have various companionship programs. For Area Agency on Aging, they have kind of an umbrella term of what's called Project Hope, and it provides varying levels of support based on if you just need a friendly visitor to come play chess with you or talk about current events, or they actually have, and that would be more peer support for those 60 and older, but they also have graduate level social workers that can delve into more mental health issues, and they can come to your home. There is the Healthy Aging Association that's, they're doing Zoom yoga, they're doing Tai Chi chair exercises, fall prevention and arthritis strengthening exercises and stretches. So you can call the Area Agency on Aging or the Healthy Aging Association and get some information. They also have a monthly newsletter that can provide you with that. Zoom, Facebook Live, if we're still feeling real concerned about our health and exposure, that's how you can continue to participate in maybe some family gatherings, birthday parties. At this time, sometimes closer to February, Stanislaus County has a lot of crab feed fundraisers. So the latest issue of Modesto View has a whole list, so you can use your money to have some good crab as well as support our local nonprofits. I'm looking at the issue right now, Modesto Elks Lodge, Lions Club, the Gregory High School Community Center has Gregory crab feed, Modesto High School, Howard Training Center to help individuals with intellectual disabilities. So that sometimes I think they're gathering, or some are doing pickups, so you can meet some new friends. Farmers markets are still going strong. And then also the Visit Modesto, our Visitors Bureau, is really encouraging people to go for a drive, go for a little caravan with your friends and look at the almond blossom cruise all over the LaGrange, their area. They're coming up from mid-February through mid-March, where they are really highlighting those beautiful almond blossoms. And you can download a tour and learn about, points of interest, historical monuments, fun history contests, and welcome visitors, but also locals. They may not see that beautiful sea of those white blooms. It's really a pretty sight. So that's that almond blossom cruise. You can get information from Modesto View or the Visit Modesto website. So I talked about some personal enrichment. So you have something to contribute when either someone calls you or a reason to pick up the phone and call other people. The Gallo Center for the Arts, they're doing their concerts are coming back for baby boomers. I know there's a Laurel Canyon concert in March with a lot of Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young stories. So that might be interesting. Well Connected. This is a virtual community by phone. It used to be called Senior Center Without Walls. I can pull up that phone number later, or you can Google that. But the State Theater is doing movies. Modesto Area Partners in Science through MJC. They do a lot of Zoom and virtual, very interesting science seminars. The Stanislaus County Library, that you can get books, but they also have a program where they will deliver books to our homebound seniors. Central Valley Art Association, Misspelling Gallery, sorry for that misspelling. So enrich yourself in order to enrich your conversations, connect with others through a shared interest. And let's see, City of Modesto does some recreation classes. There's a home share program that's promoted through, I believe, the Area Agency on Aging, that if you're looking to rent a room, they actually screen individuals, seniors, for those with shared interests, and they can connect people with that have a room to rent in their home with those that might share that interest, and that can, form a special bond. So connect with that. That's called the home share program. Let's see some other notes I have. Spring Senior Softball is going on through our Modesto Parks and Recreation. So get on their website. Let's see. Yeah, I think that covers that. Volunteering, that is still can be helpful to those that are comfortable with going out with community. Lions, Rotary Club, Elks, Moose, the Garden Club, they all have so many different arenas that they contribute to Modesto and Stanislaus County with beautifying projects and different events to support our local nonprofits. The Graffiti USA Museum is always looking for volunteers that can use a little elbow grease and get into the actual brick and mortar site or do mailings, do calls. They're really trying to grow that museum and can use some help. Love Our Neighbors, Love Modesto. Look at their websites. Those events are changing constantly as to what they need. Senior meals distribution, I believe that's still going on. And at one point they were gathering for the on-site, and congregate senior meal site locations are happening. Senior lunch sites are reopening. So that might need volunteers as well as if you want to go. Stanislaus Connections, I receive their newsletters, and sometimes they ask for individuals to help with the mailings, and as well as us, Community Hospice. We always appreciate our volunteers to give a uplifting call to our patients or to help distribute mail. And local nonprofits, I believe the Center for the Parks and Recreation, they kind of have a screening and information and resource that they can point you in the right direction if you want to volunteer. Let's see where we're at here. So here's the sources I've used. Let me go back a little bit and kind of just summarize that. I have some more information and phone numbers that I can expand upon. I know I went through that quickly, but You know, it is advised that we pick activities that foster a sense of well-being and accomplishment, kind of raise those endorphins. Living with purpose and doing meaningful activities help us age gracefully by ensuring we don't experience boredom or isolation. Bring a friend to these activities or make new ones while there. A lot of the information I get is from, you know, that last bit of information is the 209 Senior Living. There's a lot of local magazines that really encourage us to get out as we're able, connect. They usually have activities that they want to highlight. So going out into either local restaurants or the library or even our office here, we have these magazines, and it's really inspiring that whether you want to just be in your car, use the phone, do Zoom, or be in person, there's ways to do that. So please chime in if there's anything I can expand upon. I have a couple resources here and phone numbers if there's anything more I can highlight. Just because I have it in front of me, I'm going to talk more about that well-connected. It used to be called Senior Center Without Walls, and it's that phone forum where you can connect with individuals, talk about bird watching, varying levels of interest. And the phone number is 1-877-797-7299. At this time, I pulled it up, and the website is covia.org. That's COVIA. The home share program that I referenced, that can be accessed through the phone number of 209-577-3814. And that is ran by the Senior Advocacy Network. So that's home share, bringing people together that have a room to rent or need a room to rent. So let's see if that's something that might benefit you either way. Groups I had highlighted, there's a Alzheimer's dementia support group here at Aging and Veteran Services for our caregivers, caregiver support group. You know, that's monthly. NAMI, they are located at 800 Scenic Drive. They can be reached at 209-558-4555. And their recent newsletter indicated that they also have a crisis line via text message, which I feel is relatively new. That crisis text line, if you're feeling lonely and maybe a little bit in crisis, is 741-741. I get that NAMI Stanislaus newsletter, and so I have the January calendar. So if you can ask for that, it looks like there's weekly family to family support groups, women connection group. So they're doing a lot of things by Zoom, it sounds like, maybe even in person, but they're still connecting with Stanislaus residents. We do have the LGBTQ Advocacy Center that I discussed. They're over on 8th Street in Modesto. They can be reached at 209-408-8848. A lot of good stuff there. They even have a senior and gold support group for our older residents. They provide a lot of flyers, education in their mailing list and their newsletters that they definitely don't want you to feel alone. They do movies, dinner, lunch, museum, parks, I'm sure based on local guidelines, but they're trying to keep connected. I briefly discussed the Wellness Recovery Center, our Stanislaus County mental health system. They have peer connectors, and though they're located at 1208 9th Street. I believe that's the most recent address. I know they've gone through a move, but that was from December information. So Wellness Recovery Center, look at that. I talked a little bit about MAPS, the science programs, free community science programs. I received my most updated information from our Stanislaus Connections website and newsletter, but that's through mjc.edu. Fascinating information. The last one I watched was The Science Behind Candy. I watched that with my son, and we learned that some of our cosmetics are made with bugs. He thought that was very amusing. I talked about the Tai Chi for arthritis and fall prevention. Looks like they have Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on site, the Healthy Aging Association. If you show your vaccination, you could be doing Tai Chi. And so, okay, NAMI for mental health. That's the National Alliance for Mentally Ill. And they have always been around doing a lot of engagement for individuals that have a mental illness. They do a lot of information for family members that are wanting to be an advocate for their family members suffering from mental health, or they're trying to navigate the mental health system. They do support groups, they do education. I believe they are now in high schools. And so they do a lot of peer support, a lot of education. So yeah, that's our National Alliance for the Mentally Ill. And again, that phone number is 209-558-4555. Education, advocacy, support groups. They're a great agency. Project Hope, I talked briefly about that. They do the Friendly Visitor Program for just peer support. Come read the newspaper, chat about some things, show some artwork, but they also are on a spectrum from the Friendly Visitor Program also to professional support. So that's master's level social workers that can delve into a little deeper mental health struggles. And that is 558-8698. Okay. I hope that covers everything that you guys came to see, or, you know, it met your criteria of what you wanted to hear about today. So some Stanislaus County social work there. Any other questions? I do see your chats.
Erica, thank you so much. We do have a question. How can we encourage someone who might be feeling lonely to get out more?
So hopefully today I offered some suggestions that you can, depending on their comfort level, invite them to something like that. That Almond Blossom Cruise is just really a pretty scenic drive that takes us up, I think, 132, and they can be in their own separate car if that's something that they're capable of. But you guys can talk about how pretty that was, hear about some historical history or some historical monuments. And thank you, Eric. And you can invite them to that. If everybody's vaccinated and boosters and mask wearing, and they want to get out in the world, you know, the State Theater, they have a lot of indie films. They have a lot of just fun, nostalgic films that they show, and you can invite them to the Gallo Center, the Arts Center that we have, and maybe out to dinner if everybody's comfortable with that. But some of this stuff is still going on as of today. So, or you can go and learn about fun things and be an excellent conversationalist with all this information and give them a call. But sometimes there's just a lot of hesitancy with vaccines and with health and safety. And then of course, just offer compassion and understanding. You know, I don't have all the information right in front of me, but I know vaccines can even be brought to someone's home. I think it's our local public health department. There's an agency called MOVE for those that need to learn about public transportation in order to access it. That's an acronym. They're in the same office near the Area Agency on Aging, ran by Haley Vera. You want to look up that information. They are actually taking people to get vaccinated. But I've also come across some information where nurses have come to the home and provide vaccines. So do a little research on that and see if you can get your friends more comfortable.
Thank you so much, Erica. We have a lot of comments about great slides and very helpful resources, and just gratitude for your presentation. So thank you so much for giving us some great information. If you can click on to the next slide.
Yes. So here's my resources, a lot of the local magazines, my social worker resources that I utilize. If anybody wants to take us.
Then we'll go to the final one.
Yeah. And then our next presentation.
So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Erica, for a great presentation. And thank you everyone for joining us for this month's Caring for the Caregiver. So we would like to invite you to join us next month, where we will be discussing another great topic, COVID in our community. Where are we now? I know it's something that we're all so interested in it, and we'd like to invite you to join us on February 10th at 11 a.m. Thank you so much. Have a great day and be well.